Tonight, we are continuing to track the impacts of Hurricane Helene, which is now the second deadliest hurricane in the last 50 years. Tonight, help for those whose homes were damaged after the storm swept through the Miami Valley. Kasha Hancock spoke to Montgomery County Auditor Carl Keith about a program that's there to help. So, Kasha, how exactly does this program work?
Elise, Auditor Carl Keith says the program specifically helps those whose homes were damaged in a natural disaster. How it works is through a deduction in your property taxes.
If you've had some significant damage, we don't feel like it's right for anybody to have to pay a full tax bill on a property that's been damaged.
That's why Montgomery County Auditor Carl Keith is encouraging the community to take part in this program and get the help they need. But there are important things you need to know before you apply.
I know in my yard I experienced a lot of limbs down from our tree and a lot of debris and that type of thing in our yard. That wouldn't really qualify. It has to be some type of significant structural damage.
But it's not only for homes. This program also includes commercial, industrial, and agricultural properties, and even manufactured homes. Keith tells me since the 2019 Memorial Day tornado, the program has been revamped to make it easier and more efficient for those who may need to apply.
We went to the legislature and had some changes made in the law, and so it's a little bit streamlined now. Used to, property owners had to have this application notarized, and so we've eliminated that.
Adding the entire process is straightforward.
But they do have to give us an estimate of the damage, and then of what the cost of the damage, what cost of repair would be. And then once they've done that, we'll have a representative from my office. We'll visit the property and inspect it and take a look.
If you are interested in applying to the Damaged Property Deduction Program, you can call the Montgomery County Auditor's Office at 937-225-4326 or visit the website, which I've linked to the web version of this story on Dayton247now.com. Back to you.
Governor Mike DeWine now issuing a state of emergency for 4 southern Ohio counties following last week's severe weather. Lawrence, Jackson, Pike, and Scioto counties are all under that emergency. On Friday, Ohio was impacted by high winds, flooding, power outages, and downed trees after remnants of Hurricane Helene moved through our area. And tonight, AES Ohio reporting Hurricane Helene caused more than 130,000 outages in our region. Now they've been able to restore power to the vast majority of those homes. But a live look behind me tonight at that outage map, we're at about 99.9% of customers are with power tonight, which is pretty incredible. And Eli Burgett spoke to the AES today about how they've been doing restoring that power.
Well, as of this morning, AES Ohio has restored power to over 99% of the customers in our region. But the problem is that 1% that has not been restored has been living without power for the past 6 days. Today, I checked in with neighbors in Kettering to find out who is in the dark.
I miss the small comforts that you have when you have electricity. I mean, until you're sitting in the dark for almost a week.
Kettering resident Judy Meyer tells me that she, along with many of her neighbors, lost power during the Hurricane Helene storms over the weekend. 6 days later, AES Ohio has still not restored power to their homes. Residents were told that AES will not be able to turn the electricity back on until they clean up a transformer oil leak around the damaged area. I reached out to AES several times today, and they tell me that they have surveyed the damaged area and they will address the issue sometime in the near future. But as for right now, they have not provided a timeline for when power will be restored to all of the Miami Valley. Back to you.
The victims of Hurricane Helene need our help. Dayton 24/7 now partnering with the Salvation Army and our parent company for Sinclair Care's Hurricane Helene Relief to assist with humanitarian relief efforts in Western North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Virginia, and Tennessee. Funds raised will go to emergency aid, including clean water, food, and cleanup kits. Head to sinclaircares.com or scan the QR code on your screen to make a donation. Deputies tonight investigating after receiving a tip of potential human remains at a neighborhood in Drexel. A cadaver dog was on site, but those remains have not been found, or no remains have been found, I should say. The Montgomery County Sheriff's Office released a statement saying in part, quote, "No body has been found at this time, but we are committed to fully investigating any tips and exhausting all means necessary to follow up on any credible information. As we learn more, of course, we'll update you on air and online."
Well, cool weather here across the Miami Valley. Temperatures in the 50s and 60s. It's going to be a nice fall-like night for us. We have 61 Dayton, 51 Springfield, 50 in Urbana. So feeling cool and crisp like a fall night. It's been a beautiful day, and we got another nice one on the way for us. So this is a look at where we are compared to this time yesterday. Actually a degree warmer in Dayton, but most of us sitting a little bit cooler. We're going to be around the same number that we were last night, though. We'll eventually drop into those upper 40s for early tomorrow morning. Perhaps some patchy AM fog, but I think most places will be pretty clear. But just keep that in mind just in case for your morning commute. And a little warmer by the afternoon with highs back in the mid-70s.
A push tonight to put a pause on spending $75,000 on a city contract. Now, the money would go towards a human rights assessment, so the city of Dayton would be certified as a human rights city. Jenna Lee Bork is live for us downtown tonight. So, Jenna Lee, why does the city even want this certification?
Yeah, Elise, there are what are called human rights cities all over the nation. Simply put, the certification ensures that the way our local government makes decisions coincides with human rights on an international level. But it all starts first with an assessment of the city of Dayton and a $75,000 contract.
The point of the assessment is to really take a look at the human rights temperature of the policies and the practices and infrastructures of the city government and try to make sure they align with human rights principles.
The group Dayton United for Human Rights has been working with Dayton City Commission to make Dayton a human rights city. City leaders have been working on contracting a company to do an assessment to find out what work needs to be done before they can receive the official certification. I asked Commissioner Fairchild why it's important to have this designation.
The biggest benefit is that in a world where there's too much violence, to step forward and say we want to work for peace is a really good thing and can offer hope in a world where there's oftentimes too much darkness.
The problem is the Dayton United for Human Rights wants all of Dayton's departments assessed, but they were told only the Recreation Department would be assessed with the pending contract. Now, the group is asking the commission to hold off passing the $75,000 contract so the community can be more involved.
I think what's important is transparency. The biggest part of this to becoming a human rights city is civic engagement. And so there's not been any civic engagement within this process.
Fairchild saying he thinks there's been miscommunication because he thought the assessment would look at more departments.
I look forward to getting an update from the city manager's office. It's not clear to me if this initial contract is the total assessment or only the first step in the assessment.
I couldn't confirm exactly when the contract is going to be on the agenda to be voted on, but Commissioner Fairchild says his expectations are that the whole organization will be assessed because that's what was agreed upon, saying they need to do what they said they were going to do. Back to you.
We now know the Dayton venues that are going to be hosting the 2025 NATO Parliamentary Assembly Spring Session. I'm telling you, I cannot say that word right. I've not said it right at all tonight. I'm so sorry. Congressman Mike Turner announced at a press conference today that the Schuster Center, Victoria Theater, and CareSource will each feature at locations for the Assembly sessions. Now, 300 legislative parliamentarians are expected to attend, bringing 1,000 people in total to the Dayton area.
The several blocks around here will be welcoming them, having events with the NATO Village, as Earhart was saying. And we will be showing, of course, them the important historical sites of aviation heritage, including Carillon Park, the National Air Force Museum, and others, where we'll be showcasing to them the history that's happened here in addition to the Dayton Peace Accords.
That spring meeting will also mark 30 years of the Dayton Peace Accords. Israel gearing up to retaliate after Iran's missile attack yesterday. How the United States and G7 leaders think Israel should respond. Up next.
Plus, I'm tracking some beautiful weather ahead. I'll let you know how long it lasts. That's coming up. Here's a live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
The Planet Fitness Strong Choice Sale.
President Biden and other G7 leaders met by phone to discuss the global response to Iran's attack on Israel. Kayla Gaskin shares the newest details on rising tensions in the Middle East.
Israel promising significant retaliation after Iran launched nearly 200 missiles into Israel on Tuesday. John Spencer, chair of urban warfare studies at West Point, says Israel has to respond.
There has to be severe consequences, or you basically establish a new standard where the Islamic regime in Iran thinks it can attack Israel at will whenever it wants.
Meanwhile, more IDF ground troops headed to Lebanon to fight Iranian proxy and U.S. designated terror group Hezbollah. We were at the Israel-Lebanon border 2 weeks ago as part of a delegation organized by the nonprofit American Middle East Press Association. Hezbollah started launching rockets into northern Israel the day after the October 7th attack in solidarity with Hamas. Since then, there's been near daily exchanges of rocket fire. This fighting forcing tens of thousands to evacuate their homes along both sides of the border.
I want to go back home. Everyone wants to go back home.
The Lebanon invasion spurred by mounting political pressure within Israel to secure this border so civilians can return home. We spoke with a resident of Kibbutz Metsuva that sits near the Lebanese border.
What do you want the Israeli government to do in order for you and the other residents here to return?
Bring all the hostages back first of all, and to deal with Hezbollah, to make us safe. We need a solution. Hopefully not with the war, but if it's necessary, the price is going to be high.
The United States still standing firmly behind Israel, warning Iran at the United Nations Wednesday not to attack Israel or the U.S. I'm Kayla Gaskins reporting.
A live look now from our Eco Plumber Skycam. A really kind of chilly night out there, Natalie.
Yeah, it's getting cool. If you head out there this evening, you may need a light sweater or a jacket. Excuse my voice. I feel fine. I really do. It's wearing on me this evening, but it's looking good out there this evening. We have mostly clear skies, high pressure pretty much right over us, so that's keeping things pretty quiet. Off to our northwest, we do have a cold front that is going to be making its way in. This is going to be dropping temperatures yet again. So we had our first cold front. We're going to warm up a bit, and then we got a second one. That's kind of the trend next several days, just several cold fronts making their way through, and eventually we get a push of some even cooler air. So overnight, we're going to drop into those upper 40s, lower 50s, needing a light sweater or a jacket as you head out tomorrow morning. Heading into our Thursday, we'll see temperatures in the mid-70s. Sunshine is in the forecast for the day tomorrow. Heading into our Friday, again, chilly start to the day, but Friday's going to be even warmer. We'll have some clouds streaming through. This is with our next cold front. It's a dry front, but it will bring some clouds into the area with temperatures close to 80 degrees, and then we have a brief cool down on Saturday. To give you a better perspective of that, you can see how we're in the mid-70s for Thursday, close to 80 Friday, mid-70s Saturday, and then back up to 80 on Sunday. This is with our cold front that does bring a chance for rain, and then notice highs by next week back into those 60s, so feeling pretty chilly. But if you need to mow the lawn, I know my yard is finally green. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all looking good, but we do have a chance for showers late Sunday with that next cold front.
Last night was the first and only debate between vice presidential candidates ahead of the November election. The candidates battled over debate topics like the economy, abortion rights, and housing. Both of them did agree on one topic, though. They agreed there was a threat to America's democracy. But Vance and Walz say the other side's presidential candidate is that they're the one that poses the threat.
It's Americans casting aside lifelong friendships because of disagreements over politics. It's big technology companies silencing their fellow citizens. And it's Kamala Harris saying that rather than debate and persuade her fellow Americans, she'd like to censor people who engage in misinformation.
He said Donald Trump makes the people I care about afraid. A lot of America feels that way. We don't need to be afraid. Franklin Roosevelt was right. All we have to fear is fear itself.
Although they agreed, Walz says that he and Vance are miles apart on what the threat really is. After the debate, both candidates did give their take, though, on how they thought it went.
It's such a cool opportunity to get to talk to the American people, to get to make your case to them, to get to remind them that, like, Kamala Harris's policies have been a failure.
I think it was a good debate. The public got to see a contrast. And I think the ending sums it up. The democracy issues important.
Now, voters who tuned in to the vice presidential debate say it was really almost an even match between the two candidates. A special clothing drive to help local domestic violence victims and their families stay warm for the winter. How you can help. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Take Dayton 24/7 Now News with you.
October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and today local agencies announced they're banding together to help victims in the Miami Valley. Lydia Bice spoke to local officials and shares more about how they're planning to help.
The Dayton Police Department and Montgomery County Prosecutor's Office are collaborating for the second annual Project Comfort. This is a drive where we can all donate hats, gloves, socks, and coats to domestic violence victims and their children, as winter is right around the corner.
What we have seen, especially during COVID, when everybody had to stay in the houses, they couldn't get outside, we saw a big uptick in domestic violence cases.
That uptick is why local agencies are banding together for Project Comfort. The drive runs from October 2nd to October 24th, since this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, but also because victims often have trouble leaving their abusers during the winter because of the holidays. The full list of donation locations is in the web version of this story on Dayton247now.com, but you can also see some of them right here, including all Dayton police stations, City Hall, and recreation centers like Lori. Back to you.
Week 7 of the high school football season here from Tri-County North and